Yo, what's up, buddy?
What's up? We have a lot to talk about.
So we originally thought we weren't going to have a lot to talk about because it was a 32-minute episode, and we were kind of like, how do you top Ahsoka?
Mm-hmm.
But then here we are. Always
It's like one of the most powerful episodes of the season.
And they keep going. They keep going above and beyond, man. It's like, when's that pedestal going to be reached? And when are we going to get there? And I'm thinking it's going to be in the finale. I think season 3 is going to be the most hyped season that we ever get, and they're going to have a lot to fill. I mean, they can do it, but man, season 3 is going to be tough to beat season 2.
It's like they keep getting better and better because, like, a lot of I was speaking to someone last night and they were rewatching season 1. They're like, yeah, season 1 and season 2 are like totally uncomparable. Like season 2 is like a whole nother different ball game, and it's like obviously like the episode length has been inconsistent. Like we had two that were 32, 34 minutes. We had some that were like 48 minutes, one that was 54. But like, I think for some reason, like the shorter episodes happen to be like the most action packed. So like, I'm cool with that,
Yeah.
Because they got right to it. Like 5 minutes in, we already saw the slave one. Everyone was already freaking out. So whatever strategy they're using, they're killing it.
I'm definitely excited to when the season's over. To watch it all just one day off, just watch season 1 through season 2 and definitely compare and contrast to see how well the actors have improved, the production's improved. Just hopping right into it. We'll get to the cockpit scene in the Razor Crest, but I thought Tython even though it was a backdrop, man, I really felt like I was there. It looked like the most realistic place I've ever been to in Star Wars. Like I felt like
it looked like California.
Yeah, they pan out with he lands it with a jetpack and he has Grogu in his hands. When he pans out, I was like, man, I'm right here with Din on Tython. That's how good it looked. Like it.
Yeah,
man, it's crazy the type of sets that they have, the type of technology that they have over at Lucasfilm now. It's too good. Overall, what was your rating? Does this beat your beloved Ahsoka episode?
No, that's by default my number one. But like this is like default, right. Yeah. This is like right with it.
You'd be a labeled a traitor had you said something else.
But this is right with it though. But like banking off what you said, it was really interesting. Like in terms of like the scenery and stuff like that. Like last episode, Dave Filoni even said it. What they were aiming for in Corvus is that like obviously all the leaves were gone. We were expecting like a foresty, nice, beautiful planet. All the leaves were gone. It looked like kind of sad in a way. But what Dave Filoni said is like it was supposed to represent the California wildfires, and Ahsoka was supposed to be like the light in all the darkness. So that was like the little representation that they had for last episode.
That's awesome.
So I'm sure we'll hear something about this episode because obviously we saw Tython and SWTOR, and it looked like a beautiful forest planet, like with colors and lights and purple sky. And this looked like, this literally looked like California. And it wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing. I loved it because it felt like you were actually there. Like exactly felt realistic. It didn't feel like, for the first time ever, it didn't feel like a galaxy far, far away. It felt like my backyard or something like that. So that was pretty cool. But what about you? What's your rating?
Man, it's up there, dude. It's like, it's top tier. I almost can't do numbers anymore. It was so unexpected because I really thought we were just going to get his journey to Tython, maybe a little side quest here, but no, we get right to Tython. We'll get into the rest of it, but man, it was just from the very beginning, my heart rate rose up and it never went back down to normal levels until the credits. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
So
I think we said two things last episode. We said, well, at least I remember what I said. At least, I thought that it was going to be one. I thought it was going to be a filler. Completely wrong. But two, you and I both said that if we're going to see Boba in one episode, it was going to be this episode. And that was on the spot. Like, we saw him 5 minutes in. And some people thought, like, I won't lie for myself. Like, I kind of thought the same thing. When you saw the Slave One, I was like, well, is that Boba? Like, are we sure that's Boba? Like, it was all up in the air. But I think the soundtrack, the score, the music score for this episode was absolutely like no other. I think it beats all the other episodes. I think the action sequences, the intensity, your emotions, I mean, the title of the episode is literally called The Tragedy. People's hearts sunk as soon as you saw that title.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, what tragedy? What are we talking about? Like, who's getting hurt? Like, are you hurting Grogu already? Man, it was that one was as soon as I seen the title, Man, I'm like, so many thoughts came through my head, and then it automatically puts you on edge. Like that's the best title they could have gave it. Because now I'm sitting here like, does the Seeing Stone do something to Grogu? So as soon as he gets on the Seeing Stone, I'm like, what's going to happen? Then you hear the noises. So let's back. So we're in the cockpit of the Razor Crest, and he's super excited, man. And he's doing what I thought he was going to do. He's gonna start training Grogu when he can on like hyperspace travel, those little side things. Because
that's literally
so he has the ball. And he's like, Grogu, take the ball. So he's going to be doing like small. So what did you think of that? They have a much deeper connection now.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Like, I thought it was like really sweet and stuff like that because he felt like a proud father. But I did notice something, and I don't know if you noticed, and I mentioned this, like obviously in the gallery, they talk about like, when he does his little head nods and stuff like that, it portrays his emotion. It portrays his emotion. Because you don't see his face, you don't see his reactions towards things. So his tone of voice, his head nods, those little things all portrays an emotion, and you can feel for him. So you can kind of tell he was like, he kept repeating himself, like, all right, this is what you want, right? We're gonna take you, and you're gonna learn from the Jedi, right? This is what you want. This is what you want. And like, he felt like so bad when Grogu thought he was mad at him and stuff like that. You could just tell it. His emotions were already rising because he knows he has to give him up soon. And obviously it ends up being like the complete opposite, for the worse, that he doesn't give him up. He gets it taken away from him. But you can kind of see his emotion with that. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, he's, for whatever reason, he's attached to like these little things, and maybe that same attachment he doesn't really show. He has that with Din and other things, and we will get into that to the very end of the episode. We'll come back to that part. So then he just flies in. We get right to Tython, man. It's of course we know it's an ancient planet. It has ancient lore in Star Wars if you played the Old Republic, and I was happy with it. I'm glad they didn't really go into like a temple or anything. I'm assuming Ahsoka gave him the exact coordinates, so he gets there. And it just becomes a backdrop of the episode. We don't get any type of knowledge about it. There's no lore, which of course we're both lore guys, but I was okay with it because of the episode we got. So
I didn't expect them to go to the Seeing Stone that fast. I thought it was going to be way delayed. I didn't even think we were going to get it to this episode. Yeah. I mean, we said it last time. Like, I thought it was going to be at the very, very end. Like, it's going to be delayed. Episode 8 is when it will happen. He goes right to the Seeing Stone. And he starts connecting. I want to ask you something in your personal opinion. Do you think he connected with somebody? And if he did connect with somebody, I already know who you're going to say because I agree with you on that. But do you think he connected with somebody there?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Of course, you know the person. I'm already just going with Ahsoka.
Me as well.
And there's a lot of people out there saying it's Luke Skywalker. And they're just completely going away from the Cal Kestis, Mace Windu, and any of those type of things. Everyone's just saying Luke Skywalker now. That would be a big surprise, but Ahsoka, you already have her here. He's made what we were just talking about, which is a reoccurring theme. Grogu makes attachments very quickly. He's already attached to Ahsoka. Luke Skywalker hasn't been born when he was at the Jedi Temple. If Grogu is highly intelligent like we think he is, I'm assuming he's seen or felt Skywalker's presence at the temple. So why would he reach out to another Skywalker? Because, I mean, just the inner workings of the Force, they're going to have the same type of Force connection. Like, he just assumes it's a Skywalker. So he's probably scared to death of any Skywalker that walks the planet. So I'm thinking it's Ahsoka. And if he didn't, how are we going to know what he saw in his meditation? You know what I mean? Because he doesn't speak yet. So what do you think?
I think it's Ahsoka. And this is why. So first of all, I believe that every single character that he's encountered this season will have a role or some sort of significance towards the end. There's a reason why these specific characters showed up. Now, I think, and this is obviously a stretch, but I think that Bo will come back, right? And Katie Sack obviously admitted it, that she will be back. But I think the way she will come back is the fact that Bo and Mando have a common goal, just like they did in episode 3. They both needed to achieve something. Now they both have something to achieve as well. Bo needs a Darksaber. Din needs a child. They're both at the same exact spot, right? Yeah. So now he's Din is literally picking up his full team of Mando Avengers right now. He's getting everyone right now. Like he's rallying up everybody, and it's going to be one big crazy thing. Just how we talked about how we thought it was going to be on Corvus. It might be somewhere else, but it's going to be one crazy action-packed type of thing now. Now I think Ahsoka plays into this very simply because I feel like Grogu reached out to her, or Grogu reached out to any Jedi, and she probably felt his connection, felt that he was in danger, felt that he was in fear, and this is where she takes the next step, being the type of person that she is, knowing the type of person that Ahsoka is, the kind of heart she has. You know, the fact that they're so close to one another.
Yeah,
like
she might not train Grogu, but she will help him.
Yeah, probably not train. Yeah, absolutely. And they go, now I have so many different theories, right? Like I have like another part of me says, you know, like, yeah, that'll all happen. But like, I got this vibe from the end of the episode, and we'll talk about it later. I got this vibe from the end of the episode, this feeling, you know, when Grogu was like in the little prison, in the little chamber, you know, messing with the stormtroopers, force choking them and all that stuff, right? First of all, people think he tapped into his dark side, which he might have. But how I'm thinking of it as he connected to this Jedi, whoever this may be. And if it is Ahsoka, right, or whomever, I think that he's starting to develop his powers again, his you know, obviously powers according to Mando, but his force powers again. Yeah. And if that's the case, I'm getting like a kind of feel like how Rey was in The Force Awakens when she started realizing her powers while she was in Starkiller Base and then she escaped. I think we're going to see some like, I don't know if he has like the capacity, because obviously he falls asleep every time he does too much. Yeah. But I feel like we're going to get some type of thing where he like keeps testing it out, and he might be able to like, you know, windle his way to lead to someone else, you know, or something like that.
I look at it like when he's put on the Seeing Stone, he just gained a level. Like he's now whatever level he was, he just went up a level, because Ahsoka makes the comment like, well, he can make a choice if he wants to use the Force or not. So when he's put on the Seeing Stone, and then now when he's taken ultimately, he can I think that he's able to now use the Force a little bit more. So so he's scared after the Seeing Stone, because he immediately wakes up and the dark troopers are there. So he's going to freak out, and it's going to send some type of Force message that, whoa, I'm scared. And then from what we kind of gathered, Tython can't be too far away from Corvus. So could definitely either felt him on the Seeing Stone, or the fear of him losing Din, and because he doesn't know the outcome of any of that.
What was interesting to me was how powerful that shield was around him.
Yeah, like I was thinking that too. Like, could that even take a bullet? You know, because when we'll get into when Phoenix there, but I was like, maybe a laser bullet won't even go through that. So it was crazy, man.
Yeah. So we move on. Obviously, we see the Slave One come in. That's like not even like 5 minutes into the episode. I think that's when
my heart rate went up, because he puts him on the Seeing Stone. He's grabbing for the butterflies, which I seen a reference that's another reference, I think, to Anakin or something, when he was in a comic or something, where he's grabbing butterflies as a youth or something. But then he's like just sitting there, and he's like, come on, you're the Jedi, don't you know how to do this, pretty much? And then he turns on his thermals. He's looking for like maybe a button to push, because he's all technological savvy. He doesn't really know about these Force powers. And then you hear it, the infamous Slave One sound. And I was like, that my heart rate, man, probably went up 20 per minute at that point. I was like, what's going to happen? We've been talking about him fighting, maybe making friends. We don't know what's going to happen. And it's called a tragedy.
Yeah.
So,
you know, it was kind of crazy, because like we heard rumors that we're going to see Boba, right? We saw Boba. We saw his armor. But never did we think we were going to see the Slave One. And you know what the crazy part is? Yeah. The crazy part is, and this is what keeps sticking with me, that this is going to be the main ship over the remainder of the season. Like, we're going to be going around the next 2 episodes in the Slave One. Like, that's absolutely crazy to me still. That's a really good point, by the way. So the Slave One comes in, he uses his thermal check, and he sees this hooded figure come out of the Slave One. And then he just starts blasting. And, you know, it's kind of funny that we say this, because, you know, after our first podcast here, we did say that if Boba and Mando come across each other, we thought they were going to have an aggressive approach towards one another. Because, you know, he had his armor and all that stuff. But he did. They basically did. It wasn't a fight over the childness. Well, in a way it was. But, you know, Boba didn't have anything, no hard feelings towards, you know, the fact that Grogu is a Jedi or anything like that, with his share of deal with the Jedi. So that was pretty interesting. They did come out on each other strong though.
Yeah, they're very, very alpha males towards each other. They don't just say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Oh, okay, man." And then they just don't work it out. They immediately want to go for, "I have my gun out." Well, the first thing that Boba Fett does is shoot at him. So
yeah,
he's like, so he gets behind the rock, and then he's like, "What are you here for?" Everyone speaks in cryptic in Star Wars, like, "Are you here for the shot?" And he's like, "No, I'm here for the armor." And he's like, "Well, if you want my armor," he's like, "Just say you don't want his armor. You want your armor that your dad gave you, who's a Mandalorian." They don't say
that. Yeah.
That will solve the problem, but of course we have to have suspense and stuff.
I know.
What the most interesting thing about the Slave One is we've only seen it mostly in video games and comics. Now, next episode, we should get a full walk around of the inner workings of the Slave One. We're going to be in the cargo hold.
Hold on, I'm going to show you something real quick. Here's a concept art that was shown. I'm going to show you right now. There was a concept art that shows inside the Slave One that was really cool because we saw it a little bit, but not so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll show you right now if I can pull that up, which absolutely looks amazing.
It's going to be a good time to be in the Slave One, and I came up with a radical theory that something could happen to Boba Fett, and then we give the Slave One to Mandalorian because it'd be to Din. Because it'd be really cool to see him just fly that thing around for season 3.
For sure. Okay, could screen share because this looks absolutely stunning. Okay, yep, that should be good. Okay, yeah. So if you look closely, that like kind of is like the blueprint of the inside of it, which really looks cool to me. So that was one of the concept art images used. Now we didn't see like so much in it, but we did see Boba fly in it and stuff like that. But I thought that was pretty cool.
I wonder if him going to the Slave One was a cut scene. Because he's gone for quite a while, and then he just appears in the Slave One. So it would have been cool to see him, climb up the stairs. He sits in it, reminisces for like, because he's got his armor finally on, and then he's like gets back to work. So,
well, it was funny because like obviously like well we'll get into that, but we saw Fennec, which was like really cool because it proved a lot of because it's so funny because when they do the reviews in the beginning of the episode, they always show like they always show like what you need to know before watching this episode, and they show that sequence when that mysterious figure walks up to the body of Fennec, and what do you know, she appears right away, and like it all proved our theories right. Everyone thought that was Boba last season, and we were all right on that, so that was really, really cool to see. But yeah, that was Boba, and obviously you see them team up. She rips her patch. She has all this like robotic chains and all these cables inside of her.
Boba's been working, and I think that with his scars, I was like, well, why doesn't he have this armor yet? And now I kind of put it together that he was pretty beat up after the start. Like maybe it took him a couple years to recover. Now he's obviously he's a really good fighter, but man, in this episode he proved like he's an elite fighter. So I think he's been training because he's mad. He wants revenge. He just wants to destroy the entire galaxy, live by his code. So I think for the last couple of years, you could probably just use your imagination that he was injured, so he's recovering, training, and I'm pretty sure he has some type of tracker on his armor, which you would think any Mandalorian would. And I think that's how he found Din, because when he pulls it out, and he's using his wrist gauntlet, and Jango and his heritage pops up. To me, that's a little clue. Just so they didn't say it, but he's tracking his armor.
Yeah. What was interesting to me? And Boba's story is becoming something similar to Maul's story in a way for me. Maul was casted aside, had to deal with everything on his own, find his own survival, had to basically start from the ground up. And he had a hatred. He had this dark feeling towards the people he was once loyal to, which was the Sith. So obviously, in terms of Count Dooku or something like that, he has no hesitation of going after him. And it's similar to Boba. Boba was cast aside, left alone in the dust, basically in Tatooine, and now he has like this. He's literally in our faces. This is canon. He is destroying one by one the people he was once loyal to, which was the Empire. And you even see it when he's going up on the Slave One near the cruiser. He's like, "They're back, the Empire." Like my heart sunk when he said that. And like these are people he was once loyal to, which is like so crazy to me. And now he's just beating up stormtroopers left and right. So I thought that was really cool just to see this change of attitude towards him. And I've always seen Boba as the villain. But this episode made me see Boba as like a hero in a way. You know what I mean? Like a different side of him, like an actual character. No, like we obviously got like 4 lines tops from him in the original trilogy. you know, and this is all canon right now. Yeah.
So they're talking, and then they agree to stand still. So they all take off all their armor, and then Den takes off his jetpack, and then right after that, they talk for a little bit more. They agree. He said, "I'll protect you and the child for the armor," which to me is an excellent deal. Well, I'm gonna get 2 lackeys just to protect me if I give him this armor. And then before they could really get to an agreement, the Empire shows up and with a transport dropship, much like you see at the beginning of The Force Awakens. It comes in, and at least 2 squads of stormtroopers pile out of the cargo hold, and then they just start fighting. Now, Din leaves his jetpack, which, of course, if you've watched the movie since you were a kid, you automatically know that there's a reason he left his jetpack. From the movie-making standpoint, you're like, go back and grab your jetpack. But, of course,
that's so true. He didn't have his jetpack the entire episode.
Yeah.
If Mando had his jetpack, he could have saved Grogu. He could have saved Grogu at the end in a heartbeat. He had to run up that hill. Oh, my God.
So next episode, he's going to be beating himself up. He made a lot of mistakes, a lot of tactical mistakes. He spent way too much time talking to Fett. He said we'd be regretful that he left his jetpack. He left Grogu, even though he was saying he was protecting him. He didn't perform well in the battle. He was outperformed by Fett. He lost the Razor Crest. So I mean, he really got to me the tragedy is both Grogu getting taken and the failure of Din Djarin protecting Grogu.
He goes through so many losses within the span of like 5 minutes, and as a fan, it like literally made me feel so bad for him. I did have one question though. And this is like again, like I didn't notice this, and maybe you noticed it. Does he have his Does he have his jetpack at the end of the episode?
No, he never. I'm pretty sure.
Did it get blown out?
No, it's not blown up.
Obviously it's Beskar.
He left it at the Rock.
Okay.
I don't remember if he had it when he goes to Navarro, but I'm 99% sure he has it on. He just because I mean he's seen the drop ship, and then he never thought to go pick up his jetpack because he picked up his gun and stuff, and then he just ran. So I guess he didn't think he had enough time. I don't know what was going through his mind, but to not have the jetpack, he could have. Him and Bubba could have took on the Dark Troopers in the sky. You know, something could have happened. So he's gonna be in some depression next episode.
If Mando had his jetpack, he would have gone right after them, right along their side. I know that for a fact. That would have been wow. That's crazy to even think about.
Yeah, so he lost his pulse rifle too.
That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm like, what else did he lose? Like, what else did he? I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of all of his equipment, food, anything that we just don't even know about.
Jeez, dude. God, that's crazy. It's like
literally, you live out of your ship in Star Wars. He just lost his home. Like he doesn't have like an apartment to go to where he keeps all of his clothes and stuff. So what he has on his person is what he has now. And it sucks. Like you could tell the devastation. Like he doesn't say it because he's the Mandalorian, but man, you could tell right through the mask when the Razor Crest blows up. He's defeated, man. He really is.
It's like our fallen hero. You know, the person you looked up to as a hero the entire season, and now it's like he's at his lowest point right now. And it's funny because like I would say Grogu was like the only family he had technically, right? You know, he lost all his Mandalorian family basically. Bo-Katan, I don't consider that family. It's just a good encounter with another Mando. The armor, same exact thing. He didn't really have family. Grogu was the only family he had. Now he's traveling around the galaxy with one person who used to be his former rival who tried to kill each other, and another person where he just recently met that, you know, that they have respect for one another, which is Boba. But it's just interesting because like, you know, like he's mentally defeated. But you know what I think in a way though, with everything going on, I think this is going to be like a different side out of him. You know, we saw him like a very sweet spoken over the past few episodes. Like, no, we're going to see Din Djarin, like an actually like a different side of him. Like
he could easily, once he talks to Bubba and gets his history, you know, his father fought in the Mandalorian Civil Wars, Bubba's history. He's a bounty. Bubba's going to be able to give him all this information now that we've been saying, ask questions, then ask questions because the answers are right in front of you. Bubba's going to be able to do that. And when he gets this overwhelming knowledge that he's been seeking, he could very well take his helmet off and break down to Fett. Because Fett, I think the age of Fett, the the experiences that he has.
Yeah, that stomach.
Actually, look at him as like the armor, like this season's armor.
Yeah, for sure. Wise, no, I was just laughing about because you did see his stomach through the armor, which was really funny.
He got some weight on him from the Starlight Pit. He ate well. Yeah. He's just an older guy now. I get it.
I do see it. You see him as a veteran. You see him as like someone who might guide Mando in a way, But it's just so cool to me. It's so cool to me. First of all, we got to talk about the line he said. I'm just a simple man just trying to make my way through the galaxy, like my father before me. That line was perfect, just like his father. Yeah. But like I feel like everything that Boba is doing now, I see him differently because I feel like he's, obviously he's technically a clone, but at heart he's truly a Mandalorian, Mm-hmm. But it's like everything he's doing now is just to honor his father, and it's like he's actually going by that code. Like he's going by that Mandalorian code. He literally said to Din, which like literally made my heart drop. He was like, yeah, no, like we're still in debt to you. Like that's code. That's Mandalorian code right there,
For a while I thought, well, he's just going to be on a quest to, he's a Force user. Well, Mace Windu killed my dad. I don't want any part of this. I think he's completely put all that in the past. I don't think he has any hatred toward the Jedi, or why would he want to protect the child? He has to know that the child, from just by what just happened, he has to know now that the child is a Force user. And of course, Din's going to tell him, I'm looking for the Jedi. So unless there's an ulterior motive, he's just tricking Din. But I mean, I really got the vibes that he is a part of the Mandalorian creed now, like the code, and he's a man of honor now. I think escaping the Starlight Pit, Boba Fett was reborn, in a way.
And I wasn't the biggest fan of Boba in the Clone Wars.
He just looked cool to me. I never really got like my favorite character vibes off of him. I just couldn't. I mean, with the screen time he got.
But now it's like we're getting some development with him for the first time in 43 years. 40, you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, man. It's so good. It's so cool to see the side of him and see what he honors and see all the pain and suffering he's gone through. And like I said, it just brings me back. It just gives me like the feels of Maul, exactly like Darth Maul. So it's really cool to see this. And obviously, like you said, he shows the code on his armor and stuff like that, and they have mutual respect. He's aware of the Beskar. He's like Beskar, like it survived. And they just go off. And it was really cool. One of the coolest parts with me was like, obviously I mentioned this before, when he was going on the slave one up to that cruiser, it was like locking on. Like it just felt like, God, like it literally just felt like I was playing Starfighter Assault, like with the slave one or something like that. Like it felt so real. Like that was Boba. And obviously it was, but like, it's like, we never saw a post Return of the Jedi Boba before. We never saw anything, it was never confirmed he was dead.
It was perfect, man. Like there was so much nostalgia that you didn't even know you needed when the slave one arrived, when he's in the armor, when he's driving up, the sounds, like your brain just remembers these sounds from a kid, like the way the slave one sounds. Like if you played Shadows of the Empire and you're Dash Rendar and the slave one comes in, like know that sound. I played Shadows of the Empire hundreds of times. So when I see slave one on the screen, I just didn't. It's something I didn't think I needed until I saw it.
I know. And then we have to talk about the Dark Troopers.
Yeah, let's get into the fight scene with Boba though. He's super aggressive. The training, I think he had to have honed his skills, because man, that gaffy stick skill is nasty, man, and it was pretty brutal for a Disney show. I know that they obviously kill in some Disney movies and shows, but man, this one was top notch. You could see aggression in
dragging it across the floor and just, oh my God. And like I said, it was like the armor, how they just, like the armor in season 1, when she would, when she was in the room with the blacksmith, and she was like just laying there, and all the stormtroopers come in, and she just goes one by one. I got the same exact feels just with Boba and stuff like that. So I see a lot of similarities in their fighting styles and stuff. So that was really cool to see. He was going one by one, and then obviously he goes after that last one, and I already knew it right away. As soon as he looked at the Razor Crest, first of all, he had like hate, he had aggression. He was like gnarling his teeth. He was like, as soon as he looked at the Razor Crest, I'm like, yeah, he's bringing back. He's gonna come back with his armor on. Like that's exactly what he's doing. That's the only thing he wanted.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I'm just gonna do it myself, which he's super grateful for, because he saved the day. And that's another one. That's another scene where Din just kind of drops the ball. He tries to save Finnick. They get surrounded. He's taking a bunch of blaster bolts.
Yeah.
Actually, a little too many. Probably took like 20, 30 shots to the armor. And then Boba Fett comes in and saves the day.
Yeah, Fennec and Mando were like literally neck and neck, back to back, just taking all of them down, and they seemed almost beat. And it's obviously, that's for me. I mean, that's just how I am. But same exact feelings in season 7 when Ahsoka and Rex were just going down all the clone troopers together, and that's Filoni's work right there. Like back against the wall, and then someone, something or someone comes to save the day. Boba comes, saves the day, throws a thermal detonator in there, and everything just goes loose. And then, he looks so comfortable in his armor. Like it's just like a natural. And we also saw Cobb Vanth use it in the beginning. So like obviously like now we just saw like, he had like the one, the two rockets coming out from his kneecap and stuff like that, or like, it's just going one by one. It's just so cool to see him like go in action like that.
Din season 1 in the early episodes, he fights different than what he does when he has full Beskar. And Boba Fett does the same. He's a close combat oriented without his armor because he's like, well, I can block attacks, I can do this. As soon as he gets his armor on, he's walking faster. He's running right at him. He's like, well, I can take a few more shots. So they're much more aggressive in their armor. And but yeah, like I said, Bubba's gonna have so much to show Din. Like I think Din just goes by what he thinks is right for Mandalorians, how to use his armor. He's highly trained, but Bubba will show him the true way of how to be a Mandalorian. The knee missiles. He's got so much more gear on him than what Din has. He's going to be able to show him the ins and outs of the true way.
Has Din ever used? He's never fought with like a staff or anything. We've never seen him fight with a staff or anything. Could be so now that he has his Beskar staff, that could be training that Boba shows him.
Yeah,
he's like a melee weapon. Like he's never used anything. Like we've never seen him use anything like that. So he doesn't know how's he gonna fight against a Darksaber. You know what I mean? Boba might be the mentor here. Boba might train him. How he saw him because he's been out on this entire time with the staff that he uses. This is like, these weapons. And like I do think like and this is a little off topic, but like I do think that if there is going to be a spin-off for any type of Boba thing, it would fit perfectly to see right after Return of the Jedi what happens then. And again, I think this season is just going to bring up so much Star Wars content down the road. We have in 2023, we have the new 3 saga films and 2 spinoffs. Easily could be one of the 2 spinoffs, different sideshows, anything like that. So, and I think they're going to start making like content with these extra characters that we're seeing, like Boba, Ahsoka, Bo, anyone, And I don't know. Yeah, I feel like we got to see how did Boba train? How did Boba come back? How did he get so experienced with everything? And I think he's going to train Din in a way or two with the staff or something like that because he's got to go against the Darksaber. He's got to go against the Darksaber with this.
When we get the full season out, we'll do like a post-show recap and then what we think of season 3. I think that every road is leading to, if you take the Empire away, it's all leading to who's going to be Mandalore. So now we have Bo-Katan. We have the Legends Mandalore, Boba Fett, and we have Din Djarin. And I think they're setting up something pretty epic, maybe 2-3 seasons from now, but they're going to have a little Mandalorian get together, and they're going to be like, who should be Mandalorian? And then someone's going to say Fett, someone's going to say Din, someone's going to say Bo-Katan, and then who knows what happens. Maybe that puts factions, and then our heroes become, but they don't need more clan wars. That's Alexa. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I do see that coming, man, because Boba Fett eventually becomes Mandalore. So, and I was originally thinking it was going to be Din that would ultimately become Mandalore in these shows, but Boba Fett kind of ruled this episode, man.
Do you see by the end of the season, do you see a team up between these specific characters? Boba, Din, Ahsoka, and Bo. Do you see a team up between those 4? I do
see a team up because you can't beat what Moff Gideon has done now. They already proved that. Well, Din already proved to me that he's not capable of beating this particular group of Imperials. Moff Gideon's outsmarting him. The Dark Troopers now is his kryptonite. He doesn't like droids. He's going to be depressed. He's going to need help. And I don't even think Boba Fett is enough. So he's going to need Ahsoka and Bo-Katan's Night Owls.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like I don't think he's just gonna scoop them up and pick them up and be like, "Hey, look, this is what I need. Help me." No. Because I think every single character now has something that they need out of this. Boba is in debt to him. Ahsoka. I mean, I'll get to Ahsoka last. Bo-Katan needs her Darksaber. Din needs the child, and Ahsoka. The reason why Ahsoka would come into place is because of her heart of who she is as a person. And if they really some fans were saying like, "Oh yeah." Ahsoka in the last episode had a lack of character. I didn't really feel like it was Ahsoka. I didn't feel her until the very end when she looked the village and it felt like Ahsoka. Some people said that. I thought she was totally in character. I thought it really defined her as a character. I loved it, but I do think that we will see Ahsoka come in, and this is just the goodness of her heart that she needs to help those in need. She even says it in the quote. One of her most powerful quotes is that whenever you see someone, you help them no matter what. So this is what I think. I think that this is where she's going to come into place, and I think every single character here has a common goal that they need. The only one that I don't know how this is going to come. Well, I mean, I guess the one he's springing from prison from episode 5. It'll be interesting because I never would have expected him to come back.
It was kind of, to be honest, man, I was kind of disappointed. I love Bill Burr. I love his work outside of Star Wars. Man, we're getting pretty crowded here, and what I mean by that is if we don't get like an hour-long episode for the finale, I mean, Din's only going to get 10 minutes of screen time. Bubba will get 3 minutes of screen time. Ahsoka will get 7 minutes of screen time because you got to give screen time to Bill Burr's character. And I'm like, I love it. I love his character. I love his work. I love Bill Burr as a human being, but I don't want to see him take away my time with the other heroes. So,
I get you. I think he'll have a role. What's his name? I always forget his name. You know what I'm talking about, the bluefish guy. I think I'll have as much screen time as him, basically in that episode.
Just kind of be in the same scene. It's going to work out, and hopefully it's just in episode 7 because the finale. I don't think the finale should just be the heavy hitters and get them as much screen time as you can.
Yeah, Din is literally piling up his Avengers team though right now. This is really interesting to see. So moving back, so obviously they win off that, and then what's his name? Moff Gideon says right away, "Have we engaged the Dark Troopers?" And that's when everyone's all our hearts dropped because all our theories were correct. We've been speculating over the past few weeks. Have the Dark Troopers been engaged? They engaged them, and they just come flying in, and they look stunning. They look absolutely stunning. And
they look to already be in phase 2. Those don't. Phase 3 has a lot more bulkier armor up top. They look like they're just tall and kind of slim. So man, it was awesome to see. And I was gonna kind of wait, or maybe not even throw this in, but Cal Katarn is now canon. At least his face and his name is canon. And Cal Katarn is the infamous guy that goes against the Dark Troopers. It's very convenient that they have the Dark Troopers and now Cal Katarn's canon through a card game at the same time. So maybe it's me going completely off the tracks here. Maybe Bill Burr's character, when they break out onto wherever they're going, maybe there's a Cal Katarn prisoner because he was trying to stop the Dark Troopers and they free Cal Katarn. I'm thinking Cal Katarn. I don't know. I know it's a little outlandish, but man, I'm trying to put all these pieces.
Dave is bringing this Legends content in, and this is absolutely perfect, which I'm all for. But it's I don't know. It's the way they looked. I was like, what can stop something like that? What can stop? No, seriously, what can possibly go through one of those?
Yeah.
Because I don't see a Beskar staff. I don't know why, but I don't see a Beskar staff defeating one of those things.
Yeah, they're going to be tough from what I remember of the Dark Forces game, Cal Katarn, you either have to shoot it, as much as you can because it's a video game, or just, use his lightsaber eventually.
But can a lightsaber go through that?
It should be able to. If not, it's gonna be difficult, man. And that's why Ahsoka comes into play. And then maybe
Ahsoka's the only one that can take him down then.
And that's why I think Cal Katarn could appear in this next episode whenever they go to this Imperial ship that Bill Burr can find that Din's looking for. Maybe Cal Katarn's a prisoner there. They free him, and he's like, I know how to defeat the Dark Troopers. I've been trying to do it for a whole year now, and I got captured, and I can't tell anybody.
Mando's trying to break into Moff Gideon's ship, though. His flagship.
Yeah, where the Dark Troopers are. So if I was Moff Gideon and I had a high-level spy from the New Republic, I would keep him on my ship.
Do you think everything's going to go down on the ship, though? Or do you
they have to have a place of battle, and everyone
where Dr. Pershing is.
Yeah. And I think that because of the Great Purge and Moff Gideon's allegiance to the Great Purge era, I think that Mandalore is his place of residence.
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. If everything goes down on Mandalore, Siege of Mandalore Part 2. No.
Yeah, it really would be, man.
Oh my god.
Because I can't think of another planet. Navarro's kind of boring to me. I don't really care when we go to Navarro. Tython was where I was really excited to be, but we're already leaving there. The Empire's already out of hyperspace, so it's not going to be Tython. Can't think of any other planets that it could be unless they head to the unknown regions and go to Exegol, where all the cloning facilities
don't even say that. Oh my god.
I don't know, Matt. And then Thrawn, like, where would Thrawn be? He'd be in Chiss space. He doesn't really have – there's not many planets out there that we know of. I mean, it's going to be a good time, man.
He said, when we drop out of hyperspace, tell Dr. Pershing, like they're on their way. Like, I don't know where that could be. If it was Mandalore, that would be crazy. Where do you think Bo went after episode 3? Where do you think she went? Like, where do you think she took that ship?
To Mandalore. Okay. She's her entire goal is to get the Darksaber and reclaim Mandalore. So she's close to Mandalore. If she's not in Mandalore, she's in a system that's really close to Mandalore. Mm-hmm. So she's not going to venture too far from there.
Jeez, this is just like blowing my mind because there's just so many routes it could take right now.
Yeah, and they did a good job doing that because like we don't have even a screenshot to speculate off of.
It's all not even anything from this trailer. We don't know anything, and it's like, and like I've been like doing a lot of thought myself. Like one of the things I've been thinking about a lot, like outside of this podcast, is like this whole sequence that who took Grogu from the temple somehow or another. I just feel like that's gonna have a significant meaning, and like there's two theories I have. The first one being, like I said, obviously this is off topic, but like if Yoda would obviously know about someone else of his species, right? Like he would definitely be aware of it within the temple. During the Clone Wars era, of course he's going to be aware. We never saw this kid in the films, nothing, but obviously Yoda is aware of someone else of his own species. I think of one of two things. Number one, if Yoda was to trust one person, right? One person, and this just like can like add on to the Mace theories and stuff like that. No one's ever really gone in Star Wars. But if Yoda was to trust one person to take care of this child, who would it be? It would be Mace, 110%. It would be no one else but Mace. So if Mace somehow comes into play in this, which I don't think he will appear this season, but there is a possibility that Grogu's backstory, maybe Grogu is able to communicate by the end of the season. Let Mando know what his backstory was. And that's maybe that Mace did snatch him from the temple, Mace did save him, and they survived on their own or something like that.
Flashbacks before in this show, so they do flashbacks, and I was really thinking we were going to get one when he was on the Seeing Stone, but they didn't give it to us. So maybe now that Grogu's unconscious, maybe at the beginning of next episode, as he's waking up, he's going to be in the dream. We see the dream or the vision, and then he wakes up and he's back on the ship, and he's like, oh, man, I was captured.
Yeah.
So
there's so many different, and like you said, flashbacks are going to have a huge, crucial role. I think we're going to see flashbacks. I think of like how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber. I think we'll see flashbacks of that. Like Bo will explain it or something like that. I do think a major character / main character will fall off by the end of the season. I do feel like someone will reach their death. I don't think it's going to be one of the untouchable characters for me. I believe are Boba, Ahsoka, and Bo. I think those and Din. I think those are untouchable for this season at least. I don't think they're going to bring such a large scale character, and have them off within just the show. You know what I mean? I think they're going to need their own separate thing.
I'm with you, man, on death. Because Moff Gideon still, to me, I mean, he's just a bad guy, but he's not a character where I'm like scared of. So he's gonna have to take out somebody, and not just like got the Razor Crest. Okay, we hate him, but like, is he really super evil? Is he the Count Dooku, Darth Sidious that we're looking for? So he's gonna have to do something, man. And you can't really kill those main four. But like, if he took out Cara Dune, how many people? I would be like, man, that sucks because I mean, I like her role and everything, but am I really gonna be disappointed for days? Probably.
Yeah. With Cara Dune, I think the fact that she's entering the New Republic now that she's a marshal of the New Republic, I think that's if she is the one to go off, I think it would be a noble death. I think it would be a very noble death because she is fighting what she always wanted to fight for, and that's for revenge, and that's for the justice for what happened to her planet of Alderaan. And she's in her home now. She's in her right spot. This is where she's comfortable with. So I feel like that she's going to go down with the fight, and I think she may be off by the end of the season as a noble death. But again, I don't know. I mean, that's just because like the only reason I say that is because, obviously like there is like, that's what I think, but also like fans don't like the character. That's all. We'll leave that out. But like, obviously she gets mixed feelings, but we'll see, man. That's just something that I believe.
I mean, out of the main four characters, man, like none will get me to be sad for days. And like I said, but Yoda's gone, Kenobi's gone, Darth Vader's gone. They did it to Luke, they did it to Han, they did it to Leia. So eventually somebody's got to go. And out of those four, I would pick. I know there's rumors, and maybe it's confirmed that Bubba's getting his own series, but maybe it's pre-Mandalorian.
Yeah,
he never gets his armor, and you just see him in his Tusken Raider gear. I think it's Bubba. If it happens out of those four, it's Bubba because you introduced the Slave One, you destroyed the Razor Crest. The title of the show is called The Mandalorian. We all know, we all associate the Slave One with a Mandalorian, and it would be so cool to see Din use Slave One in the honor of Boba Fett. So that's the route I'm taking.
But it might not that actually could be. But the thing is, like all these characters you mentioned, I feel like they all died within one of the saga films. You know what I mean? The only one who didn't was Maul. The way they did with Maul was interesting, because if they're going to take the same approach as Maul, then it would make sense that Boba would die this season. The reason why I say that is because Maul, quote unquote, died in a saga film, and then was technically finally killed off in a spin-off in a series, Rebels. Same thing with Boba. Boba technically died in Return of the Jedi, but he's going to officially be gone in a spin-off, in a television series. So I don't know if they took the same approach, then obviously he could be gone this season. But I don't know, man. I mean,
it can be a success without a character death. I'm not trying to be brooding, but I mean, death in TV and war and these types of scenarios, it just makes it, you really get into your emotions more. Because let's say they go into the final battle and no characters die, but they defeat Moff Gideon and get Grogu back. I'm like, well, cool, we got Grogu back. Like, that's awesome. I just don't think it would be as satisfactory is not even the word. I mean, you're not going to get emotionally invested as much if they don't take out a character.
Do you think we get Grogu back by the end of the season? Or do you think
I think so. I think
the cliffhanger for next year.
I honestly think that this particular storyline with Moff Gideon ends this season. I think that I know we only have 2 episodes, but I think next episode they figure out where Moff Gideon is, and he gets the full team together by the end of the episode. And then the finale is the team going against Moff Gideon, and then either Moff Gideon becomes one with the Force, and we see Thrawn at the end, or he does escape, and then we see Thrawn at the end where he's like, and Thrawn's like, "You have failed me. You need to come to the Chiss controlled space, and we're gonna have a talk." Kind of like the exact end of Solo, but Kira is Moff Gideon and Maul is Thrawn.
So do you think we see Thrawn 100%?
Yeah, you don't mention that name without showing us something, even if it's his voice with no holo recording. Like he hits a button, and then you get whatever brilliant actor they pick to play Thrawn is going to be revealed. Because I mean, you could easily do that. You could say, get Sam Witwer or whoever they pick to be Thrawn. Just have him secretly come into Lucasfilm, film, just say one audio recording, and then just have him leave. And there's no rumors that get out. Because I mean, there's no Thrawn rumors at all this season.
just remember that, like Dave said, he said like a lot of fans don't realize that this may possibly take place before the very end of Rebels, and Dave did say that. So everything that we're talking about right now is taking place before Ahsoka meets Sabine for the end.
Yeah.
So if Ahsoka does come into contact with Sabine, it means that they have a common goal once again. I think that Ahsoka wants Thrawn, Sabine wants Ezra. They're in the same spot. So that end sequence, that very, very end, makes perfect sense. Now we need to find out why. Why does Ahsoka want Thrawn? What does she want from Thrawn? So there's a lot up in the air, because there's a huge gap. There is a huge gap, from season 7 of Clone Wars to Rebels for Ahsoka's path, and then there's just so many plot holes that need to be explored. She does have the same robes from season 7 though, from the last Mandalorian episode, which is cool.
I'm definitely in the boat that everything you're seeing is before the very end, the time jump on Rebels.
Yeah, same. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm definitely in that board. I think that Ahsoka is after Ezra too, because in the World Between Worlds, Ezra says, "When you get out, you have to find me," or it's something along those lines. And then they go their separate paths. Ezra jumps out one gate, Ahsoka jumps out the other gate, and that's the last they're together. So Ahsoka still has a personal mission, a creed, a code to figure out where Ezra is. And now that Thrawn's back, she's automatically, Ezra departed with Thrawn. If Thrawn's back, Thrawn has to know where Ezra is. So her whole mission to me, I think, is to find Thrawn so she can figure out what happened to Ezra.
I would love to know where Ahsoka was during the entire timeline of the original trilogy. That's one thing that I would just love to know.
I would say that the Jedi in their original trilogy, she lost to Vader. Some people call it a draw. Either way, I think she doesn't think she could save Anakin. So she's with the other Jedi that they just have to wander the galaxy as exiles. So you have Kenobi does it, Yoda does it, and I think Ahsoka just lays low like the rest of them, just for fear of the Empire figuring out where they are and killing them.
But I feel like
until Luke Skywalker rises up.
Yeah, if there was another Skywalker out there, which is Luke, obviously, I feel like Ahsoka would know about that, though. Yeah. I don't know. It's just there's just so many questions that we have that could actually tie into the season. Like when we finish in our, we watch it all together. Once we finish the episode of the last episode, I was just curious. Like, does Ahsoka ever come across Boba? Do they ever have an encounter in the Clone Wars? And they do, actually, as a matter of fact. Boba had Plo captured and at point, and Ahsoka came and rescued. It was with Aura Singh. It was a whole sequence, and Boba was literally like ready to kill Plo Koon. So that was their encounter in the Clone Wars. So it's going to be interesting if we do see like little things like that. If we see Ahsoka this season, like how's it they're going to encounter be with Boba? How's everything? So I don't know. There's just so many questions. There's just so many plot holes to explore. We're just these next 2 episodes, we're just blind. We don't know a thing. We don't know absolutely anything. So I'm really interested to see how this goes.
Yeah, I think, to add on to my previous statement with Ahsoka kind of being exile, she still plays the role of Fulcrum. So yeah, if you're Fulcrum, which is the pretty much essentially a rebel spy, you've heard the name Skywalker. So you are right. She knows Luke Skywalker exists.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to see her mind just the moment that she figures out Luke Skywalker and then Anakin had a kid with Padme, because she would automatically know it was Padme. Maybe she did seek out Kenobi, and we get that in the Kenobi series, and she's like, hey, and she shows up. He's like, yeah, I'm protecting the boy. You don't need to be here. I'll be taking care of this. Because Kenobi and Ahsoka were truly connecting in the Siege of Mandalore through the holograms. I thought they really did a good job. And then it'd be really good to see Kenobi match back up with Ahsoka. I think that'd be awesome. And then they have their moment together, like, I failed him, Ahsoka, and then she's like, we failed him.
I just think it'll have an influence on this because we don't know what Ahsoka has seen over the past few years. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, when she's so knowledgeable about Tython, like, go to the planet of Tython, put him on the Seeing Stone. she's so knowledgeable in this. Like, what has she seen? How does what is she's not a Jedi anymore. How does she? What experiences she had on Tython to know about this? To know about this stuff.
So she's probably been on the Seeing Stone, and man, I just put this together. Whenever she sees Vader in, when is? Yeah, it's all before
5 years before New Hope.
Yeah, so when she fights Vader, Kenobi is still around, correct? So because it's a young Vader.
Obi-Wan appears in season 3. I think it's like episode 21 or 22.
So
of Rebels.
So in the Legends books, the Kenobi book and everything, Obi-Wan doesn't realize that Vader is Anakin Skywalker for a long time. He finally puts 2 and 2 together whenever he hears like rumblings. So maybe Ahsoka confirms it to Kenobi that he's Vader. He thinks he killed Skywalker in the Legends books. He's like, Anakin's dead. He doesn't.
No, he knows Anakin is Vader.
Well, in the Kenobi book, when he's in the cantina, he's in Mos Eisley's cantina, and he sees Darth Vader on a holo recording, and then he gets like a force premonition, like a feeling in the force, and he's like, I didn't finish the job. Like that's how he felt.
I mean, but by A New Hope, though, by A New Hope, he knows.
Yeah, by A New Hope, and that's what I'm saying. I think that maybe because Ahsoka fought Vader and then cut, and she sees him and she's like, Anakin. Like that's when she fully confirms that it's Anakin, because she really didn't even, she was doubting it was him.
Here's your Kenobi series right there, then.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, they put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. Ahsoka goes to Kenobi and reveals it, and he's just like, wow.
By the way, I don't know if you know, this is just like something I read today. They actually started filming the Cassian Andor series starting yesterday in London, which is really cool to see.
It's really cool to see what that is, though, man. We'll be able to, guys, when Bad Batch comes out, we're going to be doing the same thing. Cassian Andor, all these new stuff we'll be able to cover. Yeah. And then whenever we get through Mandalorian, of course, we'll be figuring out. We'll probably just run through the movies. We'll talk about whatever we need. We'll do like Q&As and figure out what people want to talk about.
Weekly Star Wars news, all that good stuff. So yeah, but obviously, and then we obviously have to talk about the end of the episode. We see all these sequences and stuff like that, and last but not least, we see the child in the jail, in the prison, in the little chamber, and like I said, he taps into his dark side. He starts choking them, and Moff Gideon is like laughing. And he goes up to him. He's like, "Have you ever seen one of these?" And he just pulls out the darksaber like it was nothing, which was really sick to see it more in live action, up close and personal. But gosh, man, like you feel so bad, like you see Moff Gideon as a true villain in this, and it's like so like I love it though. I love it. I love his character. I love Moff Gideon's character. The actor for him is absolutely stunning, amazing actor. And it's just like the cliffhanger that we leave on, just child in shackles.
Yeah, it's like we all have a little type of parental aspect towards Grogu. So when he's captured, you're just like, back off my kid. That's the vibes I get from him. So I really feel bad for Grogu. Feel terrible for Din. And it was like, man, like the Empire now has Grogu. So it's disappointing in a good way. It makes us, obviously we're all going to tune into the next episode, but we're now even more invested because it's like we're all on board we have to get Grogu back.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's a good way to see it. And then we've seen the dark. Moff Gideon is playing chess and he's revealed all of his pieces on the board.
Yeah.
And now Din has to figure out a way to get him to checkmate. And it's going to be tough, man. Those Dark Troopers, the Darksaber, and he's making like small little hints that he can't use the Force. We still have not seen that yet. He's like, he shows him the saber, the Darksaber, and then he pulls away. He's like, you're not ready for that yet. Pretty much saying like, I'm gonna train you after we take your blood and clone you.
I don't think he's gonna train him. I don't think he's gonna train him. I don't know. We still, that this whole donor word is like, that's like that, and like the new era. That's just what's sticky with me. Like donor for what? Is it Snoke? Is it Palpatine? You know, I think it's one of those two, of course. But like, God, there's just so much speculation. We just don't. We as fans can explore so much, but we really truly don't know a thing, because these next two episodes can take so many different turns, and it's just like, you know, this is like the first time that, like, well, obviously, I mean, God, like, it's happened before, but like for once, I just feel like you know, like not lost, but like I just feel like we don't know a thing. Like as fans, we just don't know anything. We can't like, you know, we can't read anything that's going to go. I think the one thing that we can do is one thing we know for certain is that Mando is going to take a different approach to this. We're going to see full on like tough Mando in these next two episodes. He's bringing his team of Avengers, but like who's the Jedi that Grogu reached out to? You know, what donor for what? You know, like there's just so many questions that, you know, they have done an amazing job of leaving us fans clueless. And the good thing about that is we didn't get a thing about that in the trailers. All these episodes that we're seeing right now, ever since episode 5, 6, 7, and 8, we just don't know a thing. And that's like the beauty of it. This is where we can actually explore and go deep into the realm and like actually like figure out things. And like, you know, I don't know. It's just so I love it though. I love feeling this way though, you know?
Yeah, it's like we never predicted that we'd get an episode like this, so we're never going to be able to predict what happens.
Yeah.
These next two, man, it's going to be so crazy.
It's going to change Star Wars. It's going to change the way we look at Star Wars. It already has. It already has changed the way we look at Star Wars, you know? Yeah. You know, when you watch Return of the Jedi now, you're going to see Boba fall into the Sarlacc, and you're going to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know.
A little later. You know what I mean?
It's making the original trilogy already had, or just any Star Wars, Phantom Menace, all the way to what we talked about last episode, is we think that they're trying to improve the sequels through backstories, which I'm okay. I'm 100% okay with, and it's going to work. You know, because I'll watch the sequels just because, I mean, it's more Star Wars. And now when I rewatch them this summer or whenever I watch them, you'll pick up little things like, oh yeah, and then it's going to make that particular scene better. Just like the Sarlacc did, because I never really cared for it. Obviously, my favorite original trilogy besides Yoda is Han Solo. So when Han Solo beats Fett, I'm like, even though he's blonde, he just barely hits him. I was like, yeah, get out of here, Bubba. But now when I see it, it's going to be a lot. That scene's going to be a lot different for me because I know what happens to Bubba now.
And the Mandalorian is bringing in all three trilogies together. They're bringing Clone Wars characters. They're bringing original trilogy characters. And now they are bringing in, tying into the sequels slowly but surely. You know, maybe not this season in particular so much, but season 3, if this whole donor for Palpatine / Snoke is actually true like we think it is, which I highly believe it is, the new era, all that stuff, it's going to tie into the sequels. It already tied into the originals, and it's tying into Clone Wars. Clone Wars fans like myself are having the time of their life watching this, seeing Ahsoka, seeing Bo, you know, and it's tying every trilogy in together. And this is just what they're doing. It's just such a good thing for Star Wars.
Yeah, we knew that Snoke has Grogu's blood running through his veins. That's going to make us look at that character completely different. Because I don't care for Snoke. I mean, we don't even know what he was capable of. Ben kills him with a kind of like a trick instead of skill. So we don't really see what he's capable of, and I never got a good care for the character. But just seeing that, if I watch The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi again, I'll be like, man, he's got Grogu's blood running through his veins if they go that route. So it'll make that whole thing different. Your viewing is going to be different in all these things that you watch now.
It was similar to Rogue One. When you saw Rogue One and then you watched A New Hope, you saw A New Hope differently. You know, they have like the Death Star plans, but they had to go through all of that to get that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's something similar to this. Maybe when we see Snoke, you know, when we rewatch the sequel trilogy, if we rewatch, see Palpatine Rise of Skywalker, the way he died, you know, Rey pushing both double sabers against him, maybe there's just a specific reason for all that. Maybe there's just something we don't know that's going to be explored that has to do with this.
One of the things in A New Hope that people have a big problem with is they go against the Death Star with like 3 squads of fighters. Well, you figure out in Rogue One, they actually had a whole fleet. And it got destroyed. You lost Blue Leader in the Battle of Scarif. You lost at least 10 X-Wings in the Battle of Scarif, multiple Y-Wings, and you lost your Nebula and B frigate with an Admiral Akbar type character. So they just came off of a loss, and then literally like 4 days later, they fight against the Death Star with a ragtag group of new pilots, Luke Skywalker. So that scene really improved for me. Now I was like, okay, now I get it. This is why they have 8 X-Wings and 4 Y-Wings, because they just lost, well, they just had a draw at the Battle of Scarif. So it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And it's just like, these it's same thing with Solo. When you saw Solo, you looked at Han Solo differently. He's like, oh yeah, before Leia there was Kiera. Little stuff like that. Like, it's just cool stuff, and it's just like it's stuff. It's content that's like really. I think that Mando is bringing all Star Wars fans. The fact that they're bringing every single trilogy in together with this, I think it's bringing all Star Wars fans together in this. I feel like when I go on Twitter every single night, as soon as the episode releases, as soon as I watch the episode, the second it releases, I finish it. I go on the Twitter. I just like to see like what fans' thoughts are, and it's all positivity. It's like all, and this is like what us as like content creators and us as Star Wars fans want. This is what we want. We just want positivity within the Star Wars community. So when I see this, and I think for many people that are watching right now and like here, but like it's like when I see this, it's like it brings me joy. It's like, definitely. Oh my God, like like there's no hate, there's no slander. Yes, there was a little bit iffy with how Ahsoka looks or how Bo looks, But overall, as an overall aspect, everyone's just coming together and uniting on this. And what Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, everyone who's been working on this, it's just like this is perfection to me. And these next 2 episodes are going to be like.
It's just good to see, because we've been in a 3-year funk of toxicity in the Star Wars community. You're just it's like Last Jedi this, Rise of Skywalker this, and now it's completely. It went from for every 1 good post to 4 negative posts to 4 good posts to 1 negative post, and I'm like, yeah, I can live with that. Okay, I can just keep scrolling on the negative post and go to the next positive post. And the things that they're complaining about are the way things look. They're not complaining about the story; they're complaining about the look. Like you said, the Ahsoka's look. Someone said the stormtroopers acting. The only negative comment I seen about this episode was that the stormtroopers acting was terrible. I'll take that,
because they're stormtroopers. They're stormtroopers. They're supposed to be.
They're lacking.
They're supposed to be lacking brain cells and stuff like that.
If you're a stormtrooper for the Imperial Remnant, what are you doing, man? You're not even a stormtrooper for the Empire anymore. You're the Imperial Remnant. Let's go back and rethink your life. So
original trilogy fans can see their one and only Boba in this series. Clone Wars fans like myself have seen Ahsoka and Bo. Have been nothing but happier. And now sequels fans can get a tie-in with where Snoke and Palpatine come into place with this. And we're obviously not 100% certain on it, but we could put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. So. And with Cassian Andor and Kenobi, then I would highly expect to start seeing some more TV shows closer to the sequel era as well.
New Republic era.
New Republic.
Rise of the First Order. Could see more of that content. They're pushing that content. Squadrons was, story mode of Squadrons was around the New Republic era. We saw Harris and Dula, Wedge. So they're Star Wars is in good hands right now. I believe that everything is coming to place right now, and any type of weird feelings over the past 3 years, I think will be all repaired and things will age well. Especially when you have masterminds. And, the thing about it, what it will do for fans, knowing in the back of their head that when Mando's over, they can say to the back of their head, like, yeah, you know what? Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had an influence on the sequels. Like, they worked on the sequels. That's going to make fans just, like, mentally just so, like, happy. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, for me, I don't mind the sequels. I love them. But, again, it'll do justice for fans.
I have a tough time I cannot see how you can. I watched Rise of Skywalker in IMAX, and from the moment that this movie started to the very end, I was a kid. I was just having so much fun.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
perfect film for a theater. 100%.
It was, and it looks amazing. It was a fun time. And then when I got out of the theater, I was excited to talk to people about it. And then when I got on Twitter, people were like, I was like, how? Like, am I watching something different from everybody else? Like, yes, there was a lot of mistakes, but if you can just use your imagination, which is what Star Wars encourages you to do, you should be able to go into the theater and have fun, at least for the Rise of Skywalker, because man, I really do enjoy that movie. and I could watch it if I'm having a bad day or I'm bored. I just pop on the Rise of Skywalker and I'll have a good time. The way, which we'll do a whole episode on Rise of Skywalker, but the way Exco looks, the creepy Sith vibes at the beginning with Ben Solo, the very end, the Sith Eternal. It's just, I love it, man. And I think that's good to have different opinions too.
Yeah, the nostalgia, everything. You know, and like I watched The Rise of Skywalker 11 times in theaters, and you know, I remember when it first came out, the exact date, December 20th, when I watched it on the exact date. I remember like December 18th or December 19th. Like already on Rotten Tomatoes, it got like I don't know, it's like 50% or something like that. I was just like, I walked into the theater, I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna let any ratings change my mind. I just want to go in, and that stuff can ruin you inside though. When you hear these hateful opinions and stuff like that, you know. And like I'm a firm believer in like, look, if you don't like something, you don't like something. No one's entitled to like everything. Absolutely not. That's not the way things should be. You know,
exactly.
Like what you like, don't like what you don't like. But you know, just think about in the back of your head what it could mean to the person next to you. Think about in your head that, you know. And I always use this as an example. Maybe someone like Kelly Marie Tran doesn't, you know, the character of Rose Tico doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but to the person next to me, it could mean the world or anything.
I have no ties or anything to that character, but I will never say that character to anybody is a bad character, because there's literally a whole, the country that she's from literally rejoice that they had this person that they can look up to that's now in Star Wars. They looked at Kelly Marie Tran like she is someone that they could have put a statue of in front of their city capital. Like in my hometown, we have a professional dirt biker. And that is like the biggest thing around here. And we put a statue literally down at City Hall for this professional dirt biker. Now, if you don't like dirt bikes and you said that to people in my town, you would offend them quick. Like they'd be like, "What? He's a professional dirt biker." It's the same thing, man. If you're making fun of this actress for doing her job and then making her country proud of her, you're doing the wrong thing, man. You should probably put your efforts into something else besides Star Wars.
Yeah, and you've seen it over generations. You saw it in the prequels. I mean, Hayden Christensen, which by the way I love. You know, the actor who played as Anakin as a child. You know, these people have gone through mental health issues and due to things within Star Wars because of the toxicity. And I'm sure there's been tons. Listen to me. I'm sure there has been tons of actresses that we know of that has turned down Star Wars roles because of things like this. You know, I'm sure there's tons of them. So for the first time ever, to see everyone united as one while we watch this amazing series week by week. You know, we're 6 weeks into this year. We got 2 weeks left of just nothing but great Star Wars content that we can all enjoy, have a great time with, debate about, have fun with, and just love. And it's just like these next 2 episodes, I feel like are truly going to be a film. They're going to be tied together to be a film, and it's just going to be. It's going to change the way we look at Star Wars for the future. You know, we don't already look at Star Wars the same anymore. When tonight we will watch the Siege of Mandalore with Revenge of the Sith. When I see Ahsoka tonight, I'm going to be in the back of my head. I'm like, wow, you know, we saw this character in live action a week ago. You know what I mean? And it's like, but it's a good thing. It's a positive thing. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I'm looking forward to where the show takes us. And I think we're going to have an amazing next 2 weeks watching these 2 episodes as fans, man. It's going to be fun.
It is, man. It's a fun time. I'm excited. So explain to the people listening, if they listen within the next hour or two, or maybe tonight, what can they expect for the weekend of Tython that you got left?
So tonight we're going to watch at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to watch the 4-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith and Things of Mandalore. It's going to be tied in together. So every single scene will be tied in together with one another. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow, finally, we're going to hit level max Ahsoka tomorrow. And we'll do a $25 giveaway as soon as that happens, and then go right into Xbox with an Xbox raid, all wearing the same clone skins and Supremacy. But
if you're watching the broadcast, it is December 5th. So that'll be tonight, the Revenge of the Sith viewing. And then on the 6th, he's going for max Ahsoka. Yeah, I'm close, man. I should be I'm in the 600s right now. I should be well into the upper 600s by the end of the weekend. And then Wednesday, I'll be going for an 800 run. And then that'll leave me, I got 3 weeks to work with it. I'll be able to get it easily within, I'm thinking the next 2 weeks I'll have it.
Yeah.
I just finished a community event for the Revenites, man, and it was the craziest.
That was a powerful week.
It was literally insane. I know we're wrapping this up, but man, from day one on Monday to the very end, people were into it. People were coming in the chat, picking their factions. So I pitted Revan versus Darth Nihilus on Twitch. We did 23 giveaways. So I mean, it was insane, man. And
trailer was stunning.
Yeah, I got a lot of good feedback on the trailer.
Yeah.
I wish that I could do giveaways for everybody in the community. Yeah. But I think 23, man. I think that's a lot. So
I think everybody here knows what giveaway we're doing, which will be in 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now.
Yes. So 18th. I think we kind of just went on a whim of how we're going to do it. So if you're participating in chat, is how you're going to be entered. So I've wrote down every single name that came in. So if you see me writing something down, that's what I was doing. And then, so everybody that was here today, you get 1 point for the Skywalker Legacy Saber. And then if you're here next week, you get another point. And if you're here on the finale, which you have, because I guess you don't have to be present for it, but man, you're going to want to be in the chat if you win, because if the chat's going to blow up for you. So try to make sure you schedule for the finale to The Mandalorian, that following Inside The Holocron podcast, because you're going to get your 3rd point. So you'll have 3 entries into it. And then we'll do it at the very end of that podcast. It's going to be that podcast, guys, could very well be 2 hours because we have the finale to do. We'll probably have so much to talk about for season 3, and then we'll have the giveaway. So prepare yourselves for that finale. But yeah, it's the Skywalker Saber, man. And right now we're looking at probably, I think about 22 people are entering now. So you guys will have a leg up on everybody that didn't watch this episode live. So it's just our way of giving back to you. We appreciate you guys.
Are these going to be on Saturday afternoon for now on? I mean, there was a schedule change this week due to a lot of events on both of our ends. Possibly next week, we will keep everybody updated. Our goal is probably to go back to our regular 8 p.m. Eastern time next week. But again, we always keep everyone updated via Instagram, Twitter, and both of our Discord servers. And there is links below if you are.
If there's any lurkers in the chat, make sure you type. That's the only way I know that you were here. So at least type hi in the chat. But yeah, so it is going to be on Saturday. So like we said, we switched it for this time, and it does give other people some, if they're busy at night. We definitely want to be consistent in whatever we're doing, but we are experimenting because we're trying to figure out what the best one is. We'll talk after the show about what type of analytics we have for everything, and then we'll figure it out. But we guys let you know. We'll let you know for sure.
Yeah. Are you streaming today?
I am not. I got to work on YouTube, and then some family birthday I got tomorrow. Probably, but if it is, it's going to be a short stream because I need to focus on Iden. And I love streaming, but I have to get this goal done. And when I'm streaming, I miss. Like when I stream, I'm probably missing like 10 levels that I could have gotten if I was just grinding. Yeah. So
it's look, once you get close, it's like you just want to finish it already. I'm at 975 right now. By the start of tomorrow's stream, I'll leave it at around 995. But it's like it's getting there. Yeah. So God, dude, you're gonna get it so fast. You'll probably get it by the end of if not next week, then the week after. But it's like it's been definitely like one of the most fun experiences. It's just like being able to like grind for something, or just work hard towards something and see it like progress. So that's been a lot of fun. But absolutely, man. And you heard it there. Monday or tomorrow, Warrior will be streaming. And
either maybe if not tomorrow though, we'll both be back to our normal schedules Monday. So
yeah.
Other than that, guys, we appreciate you. May the force be with you. Be powerful, and we will see you on Twitch.